Rampage.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Io coming at you with a big update today. We are talking about how 7.07 affects Io. What are the changes? Are they good? Are they bad? Let's get into it. Let me summarize my feeling about 7.07 for Io as follows. Nothing has ever been better for Io than it is right now. This is the best thing to happen to Io since Io was created. The analogy I would use is this, right? You're in school and you're doing calculus. And calculus is really hard. A lot of people fail calculus. They're not very good at it. They don't understand it. You are like me. You like calculus. You're a big calculus fan. You've been doing calculus on your own time. You've been taking home homework. You've been doing it. You're a calculus pro. The school comes to you and to all the students and they say, look, calculus is really tough. We're going to make calculus easier for everybody. We see that it's the least popular class. We see that it's where most people fail. So we're going to make calculus easier for the everyman. You, as someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes calculus, are suddenly the top of the class. And that is what has happened to Io. Io is calculus. He is the lowest win rate hero in the game. And not by like half a percentage point. He is several percentage points lower than every other hero in terms of win rate. He is the least popular hero in Dota. And I have a feeling Ice Frog looked at that and said, how can we make Io relatable to 2K players, 3K players, people who have never experienced this hero before and are not going to get their butt whooped for the first 100 games until they figure out how the hero works. The major changes that have occurred to Io are through his talent tree. There's been a lot of talent changes to Io, and the main way to summarize is that previously, 7.06, the talents were defensive. They were giving you physical damage resistance through armor, they were giving you magic damage resistance, they were giving you regen to your mana, a little bit extra strength, and as you went up you'd get some gold, and then at the final level you'd get some damage or interesting tether stuns spell. Now, in 7.07, those defensive talents have been flipped on their head and they're now offensive talents. They are all about giving you giving you damage to explode onto enemy heroes, to get crazy high kills, to have crazy heavy game impact in a way that was not possible prior. I'm going to put up a game. You guys are watching a game happen right now, but I'm going to put up images and some of my own home math that I've done to support why I'm making these decisions that I am making. And I'm going to try and put them in when they're not distracting to the gameplay. Long story short, Io has more game impact now than he's ever had in the years I've played him. I'm putting up a picture of my current wins out of this patch. I have played to date 17 games of Io, so I'm not an expert in any of the things I'm about to talk about. I'm still teaching myself what to do. I'm still getting caught up with things. So there's no 100% correct answers right now. I've played 17 games of Io. I've won 14 games. That is an 80% win rate with Io right now. I'm going to try and pass along to you guys the stuff that I've discovered. Hopefully watching this gameplay is going to give you some insight as well. I'm going to try and talk to you guys about what has changed and the way I've responded to it. Let's get the nerfs out of the way. Io has two major nerfs that are not a big deal. People look at that and they go, oh man, they've nerfed Io. I would trade my left testicle for this talent tree. Those nerfs are totally fine. The first nerf is Relocate. Relocate is now a 20-second longer cooldown at each level. So at max level, it was a 60-second cooldown, now it's an 80-second cooldown, etc., etc. It's not the end of the world. It's something that just means you can't spam it as heavily. When you use it in the early game, it takes even longer to use it again. You can't use it in the end game to aggressively rat push. That's essentially the idea behind why they've changed it. Io's talents are now so aggressive and so offensive that if they didn't change Relocate, the way that you could jump around the map with other heroes and tether to them, and it would be really, really like more game breaking than Io was already game breaking. So that's been changed. The second nerf is got to do with Io's spirits. Spirits used to extend out to 875 unit radius. Now it's a 700 unit radius, which is a 20% decrease in how far you can spread out your spirits. Again, not the end of the world, kind of annoying. The idea here is that you would want... you can't chase people from as far away and still make contact with your orbs. It keeps you closer in team fights, which is more dangerous for Io. You know, if you're not as far away, they can turn and attack you much easier. That being said, it's not the end of the world. A lot of the way that you use your spirits in the middle game and the end game is not at maximum range. You're dealing damage to carry heroes, to melee heroes as they hit you. You're, trying to bait heroes with it. You're changing your distance. So it's not the end of the world. But the changes they've made to the talents are absolutely fantastic. I'm going to run through the changes to the talents, and then I'm going to go into sort of my items and the way I would play. The first talent changes are level 10. In the old patch, they used to be +6 armor or +10 magic resistance, 10% magic resistance. I would always personally build the armor talent. Before I continue, it's important to note that people who watch me often will know that I prefer to play Soul Ring and Tranquil Boots build than a bottle build, and as a result, a lot of the things that I used to do, as well as the way that I'm playing right now, is based out of my Tranquil Boots Soul Ring build knowledge. I'm not saying bottle build is bad. I'm less personally experienced with it. There's a whole conversation to be had about bottle builds, and now that the positioning of the runes has changed, you're more likely to have fights there, you're more likely to get ganked when you go for runes. How dangerous does that make it for you to go bottle build? Those are conversations to have at a different time. I'm just putting it into perspective that a lot of my thought processes right now are coming from my Soul Ring build. Normally in Soul Ring build, in the old patch, I would get +6 armor. The way that works is magic resistance is given to you as a percentage, but armor is given to you as a whole number, so it's not terribly difficult to translate what 6 armor means in percentage of physical damage resistance, and it's actually immensely high. Even with the armor you get from Urn, even with the stats that you have from Wand and other items, the armor talent +6 armor gives 19% physical damage resistance, compared to the magic resistance talent, which can only give you 7.5% magic resistance, because it had to stack diminishingly with the 25% magic resistance we already have. So I would always go for armor at level 10. And after I would build my core Soul Ring items, which in order are Soul Ring, Tranquil Boots, Wand, and Urn. That's my core items for the remainder of this chat. Whenever I build Soul Ring build, these are my core items. Once my core items were finished, I would go for the armor talent, and I would go for Glimmer Cape. Glimmer Cape gives you more magic resistance than your talent does. It allows you to make yourself invisible to de-aggro in fights. It would block magic damage onto other players as well as yourself if you cast it on them. It can make other heroes invisible. It has a lot of synergy with your Relocate. You used to be able to break it into Shadow Amulet. You can't do that anymore. But that was my go-to item. I already had my armor fixed from the talent. I can go into this defensive survival item that blocks magic damage, I have my armor set, and then I can think about regen items or other things like that. That has obviously changed because there's no more armor at a level 10. We'll talk more about that when I go into items. At level 15 talents, the current level 10 talents, not just going to tell you what used to happen. The current level 10 talents are plus 60 melee damage at level 10, which is very, very strong on IO. It allows you to farm faster. It allows you to confirm kills better. It has a very heavy impact very early in the game. It's the talent I would recommend in almost every situation. The second option is to increase your spirit's distance by 400 units. This goes from 700 up to 1100 units, which is way more than it ever was in 7.06. The reality is that this has its uses. You know, if you really want to stay away from team fights, but you still want to be causing damage, having a really far spirits AoE means that you can keep yourself far away while still hitting them. The reality is that by the time you hit level 10, the damage from your spirits is already starting to drop off. It's not as fantastic as it was at level 7, and it's going to be becoming even less and less effective as the game continues, so it's not my favorite choice. Level 15 used to be plus 10 mana regen. There was a second talent that involved strength, but you never picked that because that was a terrible talent. You went, like a smart man, for 10 mana regen. 10 mana regen would fix your mana pool for the entire game. You didn't Guardian, you didn't Dual Scepter, you could sell your Soul Ring, and that was the only mana item you had. Plus 10 mana regen was a really big deal. That is also gone. At level 15, the talents are now tethering to another hero gives that hero an Aghanims buff for the duration of the tether. If you break tether early, they lose the buff, etc., etc. People look at that talent and they go, holy shit, that is so broken, I'm building my entire IO around that. And that can work. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. I think you have to be very coordinated. I think you have to be playing with friends and you guys pick the right heroes accordingly. You know, I played a game with a friend and he picked Sven. I'm going to show some clips from that game later, and that was a fantastic pick. He would pop his ultimates, I would tether, we would all get a damage buff, we could push towers very easily. It was great. Again, if you play with some randoms and you guys aren't coordinating and communicating well, and Earthshaker jumps in and pops his ultimate before you can even tether to him, you know, misplays like that are gonna happen too. So you have to think about that laterally. The other level 15 choice is plus 90 damage to your spirits. Now this is really overlooked because everyone thinks, oh, Aghanims tether, that's the greatest thing on earth. I've played 2 games with IO tether, and I've played 14 games with 90 spirits damage. This is amazing. Each spirits cast is 5 orbs of 100 damage, meaning that in the end, 1 spirits cast is 500 magic damage. Plus 90 spirits damage is not 90 plus 500, it's each of the 100 spirits orbs does 90 additional damage. That is almost double your spirits damage. Instead of 500 damage in 1 spirits cast, you're now doing 950 damage every spirits cast. That is a lot of damage. Pop that twice in a fight. You know, if you time your spirits well, you can do it twice. That's 1900 magic damage that has a minor AoE component in 10 seconds, maybe less. It is an incredibly powerful spell, incredibly powerful talent, not to be overlooked whatsoever. Level 20 talents used to be 20 health regen or 120 gold per minute. I tended to go gold, with the idea being that using the gold you could buy more intense healing items like Heart of Tarask that 20 HP regen just doesn't cover. Now it's 150 gold a minute. I don't know why they threw it more money. Again, I think they're trying to make it easier for the everyman, but I'll take it. Okay. 150 gold per minute, or every time your tethered ally attacks, you also attack. And when I first read this, I thought this was going to be limited in some way, like, okay, the guy who I'm tethering is attacking, but I'm going to attack too, but it'll be based off my own personal attack time, you know, I can just do it while I'm moving. No. Every single time the other person who you are tethered to attacks, you attack. You want to attack twice at one time? That's how you do that. You want to... I mean, the synergy in this move is insane. Mask of Madness is a really common item. If the person who you're tethered to pops Mask of Madness, you attack at the pace of Mask of Madness on top of your normal attack speed. Oh, by the way, you have overcharge. Not only are you overcharging yourself to attack faster in your normal attacks, but you're overcharging your tether partner who is now attacking even faster, which you're also matching every attack they are overcharged Mask of Madness attacking. It is crazy. I'm going to put a clip up here. I hope you guys can see it. But this is how intense this can be for ratting towers, for big pushes. I see this having a lot of capabilities. Again, I think it's something that is better done when you're with someone who you trust, someone who is reliable and you're communicating with, and you can really make a lot of stuff work when you're synergistic like that. When you're by yourself, go for gold. That is a lot of gold per minute. And being able to get some very heavy healing endgame items, support items, very, very big deal. Level 25 talents used to be, I think, actually a little bit more interesting. They used to have plus 150 spirits, which was essentially your spirits is useless from minute 15 until you hit level 25 at like minute 50. And then suddenly your spirits would be game relevant again and you could actually get kills with them. I like it that this has been moved to level 15 and obviously made less strong, but even still, it's such a nicer scaling up of the hero as compared to waiting for level 25 and suddenly at level 25 you get this big damage boost. The other option was tether stuns. Tether will stun for the same time that it slows, which is 2.25 seconds. And this is also prevalent in the new patch. It's tether stuns or 50 health regen per second as compared to 20 at the level 20 talent in the old patch. Personally, I'm picking the 50 health regen more often than tether stuns. I think tether stuns requires you at a very end game stage to have very strange positioning in order to make sure that your tether is there to roll over somebody else to stun them. It's not 50 HP per second. Like Heart of Tarrasque is a great item, has a lot of healing, but Heart of Tarrasque can be turned off. You know, if you're going to be dueled by Legion Commander, it might as well not even be there, other than to give you extra HP. So having that base 50 health per second always going, never turning off, that I feel is a lot safer and more reliable in my perspective. Now I want to get into items and the different ways that I see IO being played right now. Again, these are from a Soul Ring based perspective. My four basic Soul Ring, my core items I would call them: Soul Ring, Tranquil Boots, Wand, and Urn, in that order. There's not a terrible, huge change to the way that IO is played in the first 12 minutes of the game. Soul Ring has been changed slightly. It has strength built in, which is nice for IO. You get to last hit a little bit harder. You can harass a little bit better. But it's taken out the 50% MP regen, so it gives you less mana. Same from Wand. Wand used to be 4 all stats, now it's 2 all stats, so you're losing an additional 2 intelligence there, less mana pool to work with. My advice for you guys, if you're going to build this way, get your infused raindrops from Urn and get them early. The mana regen from infused raindrops is going to help you compensate in the early game. But with those items being in place, I see 3 major ways of playing IO right now. The first we'll call True Support IO. This is a pretty standard IO way of building. You go Soul Ring, you go your standard core items, and then you go for Mechanism at around level 10, maybe a little bit before level 10. Mechanism is something I would not normally buy on a Soul Ring build IO because you don't build Arcane Boots. The idea being you get Arcane Boots and Mechanism, Guardian Greaves is only 1700 gold away. But in this game, now that armor has been removed from level 10, you need to be thinking about how to supplement your armor with items around that same number. Mechanism has great armor in it. It's something that you can rush early, and if you're lucky, you have it done before minute 20. And that's going to have a lot of team fight capability to help you support in team fights, heal people up, support pushes, as well as tower defenses. Having that early mech is a very standard IO item, and it's something that can have a lot of impact because you're not immediately compensated for armor once you hit level 10. After that, you can sort of play things by ear. Again, the major things to think about, from my perspective, you lose armor at level 10, and you lose mana regen at level 15. Those were the old talents I would get. So your items have to compensate for that armor, which comes from Mechanism, and your mana regen. You could go for Guardian Greaves if you wanted to. If you weren't feeling the pressure from your mana quite yet, you could slip in a Glimmercape, still get yourself out of fights, block magic damage. Go for Yule Scepter. Great mana regen item, gives you a movement speed buff. You can play around with various combinations. At what point you feel your mana is being too restrictive from just Soul Ring, you need to get something else. I haven't personally played in this build. I don't see why it wouldn't work. And I think your talents are very, very flexible at this point. I would personally suggest going for the 60 damage at level 10. Make sure that you're getting last hits, make sure that you're farming more effectively. It just gets you your gold faster to get your Mechanism, to get your Glimmercape, to get the rest of your items. At level 15, I think you could play it by ear. If you are with somebody who's a really good player, if you're with a person with a very good Aghs buff and you can trust them that they're going to play well and play with you, go for the Tether Aghs. If you're not with anyone who you trust and you're trying to keep the team alive, go for Spirits damage. Both are very, very effective choices. It really is, you know, there used to be just one good choice at each talent level for IO, and now it's very split. You really get to play things in the game as they come, depending on who picks what and how people are playing. For level 20, I think that, again, you play it by ear. If you guys are pushing and you're about to end the game, you can go for the attack talent to help push. If you think the game's going to last a while, you need a very heavy item like Heart of Tarask to make sure that you can keep people alive as a support. Go for gold. And again, final choice, I think 50 HP regen is a safer bet, but if you're playing with someone very, very coordinated, go for the tether stuns. Why not? The second choice, which is one I've been playing a lot, it is so much fun, and it's the build I'm going in this game, is what I would call not true support, but damage support. IO goes as a damage player in the support build. You go your core Soul Ring items, your standard Soul Ring build set, and after that, you go for the greatest item you can get right now, the new meta for IO, Veil of Discord. Veil of Discord provides armor to compensate for the level 10 talent. It provides 14 intelligence to compensate for your mana regen. And if you looked in the patch notes, each point of intelligence gives extra mana now. I believe it's 1 extra mana to your mana pool. So, and Veil went from 12 mana from 12 intelligence to 14 intelligence. So you're looking at over 150 extra mana from buying Veil of Discord. It has armor, it has health regen, and on top of that, it combos incredibly well with the plus 90 spirits damage that comes at level 15. In this build, I would definitely get the plus 60 damage, and at level 15, I would get the plus 90 spirits damage. And let's do some quick math, so you can see what I'm saying here. Normally, spirits does 500 magic damage, 5 out of 100, and a person has 25% magic resistance. So they take 375 actual life points of damage. If you hit them with Veil, they basically negate their natural magic resistance, and they take the magic damage as quote-unquote pure damage. It's not actually pure, they just have weakened magic resistance. So instead of taking 375 on a 500 damage spell, they take 500 of the 500 damage spell. So the idea is that per each Spirit's cast, Veil of Discord gives 125 extra damage. If you cast Spirits twice, it deals about 250 extra damage. Nice. Now that Spirits is 190 damage per orb, you're dealing 950 damage per Spirits cast, With Veil of Discord, that means you gain 237.5 damage every Spirits cast. 2 Spirits casts, that is 500 extra damage through Veil. That is no joke at minute 15. You guys can see in this game just how intense and how helpful that Veil of Discord becomes. It supports all of the problems that you have from losing the old 7.06 talents, compensates you directly, and prepares you to have very heavy team fighting impact. You're not just increasing the damage that comes from the rest of your team, their spells and whatnot. You are directly and heavily increasing the damage that comes from spirits in a way that has not really been possible prior. After Veil of Discord, around level 15, you start really feeling that you need extra mana. Normally you get the talent for this, doesn't quite, the intelligence from Veil is not enough to cover you. My personal choice is to go Eul Scepter. Eul Scepter was something I used to buy back in 7.06, not as a mana tool because, you know, you'd have that talent, you'd be perfectly fine, but one for the speed buff, and secondarily for the Cyclone. That Cyclone acts as an offensive interrupt for people who have channeling spells. You can set people up to be hit by the rest of your team, and you can also use it on yourself to block damage from a sniper ultimate coming for you. A lot of different uses to that Eul Scepter, and now it also gives you the mana that you so desperately require. I think at this point I would personally sell my Soul Ring to help purchase the Eul Scepter. After Eul Scepter, you go for Spirit Vessel and you upgrade your Urn. Not only does this make Urn stronger and endgame relevant, it actually has another speed buff that comes from the Wind Mix. So between Eul's, Tranquil Boots, and Spirit Vessel, you are a fast IO at this point. Fast enough to catch up to people with your smaller AoE spirits and wail on them after you use Veil of Discord. My final item in this build would be Heart of Tarask. Make sure you have strong endgame healing to help out other people with. You can also get a Glimmer Cape at any time in this build. There was a game that I lost where I was going Eul Scepter, but I wasn't getting it quick enough. I kept on getting ganked by Blink Dagger players, and after I couldn't get Eul Scepter done for a whole 10 minutes, and we ended up losing because I wasn't able to sort of fulfill that. So getting an early getting an early Glimmer Cape can help keep you alive enough to get the rest of your items done. If you happen to get Heart of Tarask finished and you want another item, currently I'm looking at Octarine Core. It's more support for your mana pool. The way that it reduces your cooldowns on everything is fantastic, from Heart of Tarask to TP Boots to Veil, Spirits, Relocate, all that shit. This is the build I've been running with. This is the build I've been winning with. Take notes, go home, try it. The shit works. At level 20, I would go for the gold talent to make sure I could get Heart of Tarask and other endgame items, and at level 25 I would go for healing, just in case Heart of Tarask switches off. I still am a reliable healer with that 50 in my back pocket. The third way to play IO is when you're playing with a buddy and you guys are going to be abusing the Aghanims tether scenario. I am gonna cut clips in of Sven. He and I played like this. When I tethered to him, I gave an Aghanims buff to him, which gave a bonus damage to all players in a radius around Sven. And we were able to push really aggressively, win team fights very aggressively. He would blink, stun, ultimate. I would tether, and we'd have a ton of melee damage coming in. You build your same core Soul Ring setup, which is Soul Ring, Tranquil Boots, Stick, and Urn. And after that, I would go for Vladimir's. Vladimir's gives you the armor that you're missing in the level 10 talent. It gives you a little bit of mana regen, but it also gives you plus 15% physical damage boost, which is great because that combos very, very well with the plus 60 damage you take at level 10. So that plus 60 damage becomes like plus 70 damage now that you have Vlad's. On top of that, it gives both you and your tether ally lifesteal, which now stacks additively. So if he has Mask of Madness, he's going to heal even more from you having Glads. It's not going to be a one or the other kind of situation. He gets bonus attack, you get bonus attack, armor, mana regen, and you're both lifestealing, which you give to him extra through tether. If you're lifestealing and you have tethered to him, you're going to give him even more health. And obviously, lifesteal, again, stacks very well with more damage. The harder you hit, the more health you heal. So Vladimir's is a great choice. After that, you can go Glimmer Cape again if you want to be able to stay off the map. Solar Crest is a great item choice to boost your mana. You can use it defensively to help out other players. You can use it offensively with your tether buddy to make sure he can shut down players, stripping armor away from them. It has a lot of options. Yule Scepter, again, it's going to be helpful to replenish your mana. Other mana choices can come into play at this point. Solar Crest has mana built into it as well. But the idea being that you go level 10 talent would be damage, level 15 talent is to tether and ags, the level 20 talent is to attack when they're attacking, and the level 25, again, you can play by ear, tether stuns if they're very coordinated, health regen if you just want to make sure that they're healing. But this is a really broken combination. I haven't screwed around with this too much because I haven't been playing with a lot of friends right now. Everyone wants to play their new heroes and experiment. But if you pick the right friend and he picks the right hero, you can solo win a game. Just you and him between Relocate and attack when the tethered person attacks and give them Aghanims buff. You can do some very serious damage by doing that. Vladimir's is a great early item to keep you both alive, and you build off from there. So that is sort of my thought process for now. Obviously, I'm going to be refining this down as I go. Once again, nothing against bottle build. I don't think bottle build is worse now. Arguably, it's even better because runes are closer to where you lane. Technically, it could also be worse because people are more likely to contest runes because they're so close to one another. I'm going to be making more videos about the way that I support. I have a really great pulling setup that I have right now at the 2-minute mark, whereby I stack my small camp, I run to steal the enemy's bounty rune, I come back to get my bounty rune, and I pull all in like 20 seconds. Pulling from the large camp is much more complex now, so stacking the small camp and pulling from that is still pretty easy. And then I'm going to keep on practicing other endgame items for the different builds. I need to experiment more with what heroes have great Aghanims buffs that you can give them. I've only really screwed around with Sven so far, but Sven seems borderline OP. I don't know if they're going to keep Io this way. I think he might end up getting nerfed in a 7.0, like a 7.071 or whatever they do next. Because the only way I can understand why they would do this to Io is they actually want to make him game relevant again for other players. And for a very long time, before making this video, before the patch came out, I was becoming more and more frustrated by playing Io, because it's the main hero that I play, it's the one I enjoy the most, but I would win or lose games not based on me. I would win or lose games based on the other players on my team. Everyone is shit, so we lose. That carry is great. I support him and we win. It wasn't really about me and my actions, and I felt very out of control. How am I supposed to gain NMR? How am I supposed to move up the ranks if the hero that I'm playing is not directly contributing to how the game ends? That is no longer the case. I have won games solely on my own back as a support IO player. By the end of the game, you have so much damage, so much impact. It is literally on you to win. And that is such a refreshing change, to be able to feel like the things that I'm doing in the game directly contribute to how the game is going to play out, as compared to just making sure that Joe Schmo stays alive, and as long as the carry stays alive, we can win the game. It is so much more direct, so much more relatable at this point. If there was ever a time that anyone in my audience thought, I don't really play IO, it seems too complex and weird, this is the time. this is where calculus is really easy. Go and do it now before they change it, because this is I mean, I want to say this is one of the most broken OP heroes in Dota right now. I can't say that with a lot of certainty because I haven't been studying the way in which talents affect other players. I've been so focused on IO. But this is one of the most broken OP heroes in Dota right now. Between the tether to Aghanims buff, between the tether to attack buff, and just all these early game damage talents that if you're not playing with someone and you don't trust that they're going to be good, just win the game yourself. Go into heavy melee damage, go into heavy spirits damage, get a veil, and just wreck people. Fights that you had no business winning are won by IO now. It is my very first IO support game in 7.07. I got 22 kills. Like, and then my third game I got 23 kills. It's crazy. I really solidly suggest that people check out IO right now. This shit is strong. Really, really strong. I'm going to make more videos in the future as this evolves. I'm going to make more detailed videos on different builds of IO, the true support build, the Aghanims buff build, and trying to understand what are better item choices, depending on what heroes are going to be great for the Aghanims buff, when should I be going damage IO instead of true support IO, and then other videos about how to move on the map now that the map has changed. Where does bottle build play into all this, and what heroes would I prefer to go bottle build now as compared to soloing build, and vice versa. I'm going to make some videos addressing those issues as I can truly update them myself. You know, I don't want to update my IO guide right now because there is just too much. There's too much on my plate. There's too many unanswered questions, too much out there to think about. So I'm going to make these little update videos. Hopefully that will be entertaining enough, but my takeaway to you guys is follow what I've put up on the screen. If you want to have a really good time, go for my damage support build because it wrecks people. And thank you, Ice Frog. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I don't know why you did it, but thank God you did, because this is amazing. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe because I'll be putting out more IO-based content and general 7.07 based content in the future. What a fucking buff. If there was ever a time to play IO, it's now. Wisper out. Go try it. See ya.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is falling. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Double kill!
I know just the place to plant you.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack. Radiant's bottom barracks. Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
Haste.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Death's bounty.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's kind of cozy down there.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack. Radiant's top barracks are under attack. The Dire now have mega creeps. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Fresh mate!
Dire's ancient is under attack. Radiant are scanning. Roshan has fallen to the Raiders. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
My spirit returns to